Dave, let's start with health. Adam Larson, did he skate today? Same with Tyler Ennis. What are your thoughts on those two availability for tomorrow?
We haven't skated yet today. We skate this afternoon. Tyler Ennis is classed as unfit to play. He's out indefinitely, and Larson, we'll see where he's at today.
Next question to Steve Wino. Steve, assuming your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Hey, Dave, how much better, and this is a very vague question, but how much better does your overall team defense and goaltending need to be tomorrow?
Well, the last two games, we haven't given up a ton of chances. We had some, you look at the 4 goals we gave up last night, 3 of them are deflections. The first goal hits Rusty in the back of the leg. The second goal, Taves doesn't even know he scores it, hits him in the leg. And the other one is a deflection. And the fourth one's a deflection that we put in. So it's not as if we're giving up a ton of chances. They're going in our net. And we have to find a way to overcome some of those mistakes that are allowing that and find a way to keep them off the board and get us more. But you look at the last 2 games, the chances we're giving up are not a lot. The chances that I'd like to take out of our game are the ones that we're taking too many penalties to give them.
Next question to Jack Michaels. Jack, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question.
Dave, to kind of build on that thought, particularly in the third period last night, did you essentially play a good period?
The first part of it, it was a period that was just both teams were playing hard, not much happening. And you come down to it, the 2 goals we turned it over on the wall, didn't get in a shooting lane, and it's an innocent looking shot that gets deflected and finds its way in. Second one, we don't take our centerman to the net, and didn't get a chance to get in the lane on that one. The guy's shooting it from a real bad angle, and it goes off Bearsy sticking in. So there's things that you could do different, you'd like to do different, but there's some parts of the period that I felt we were fine. We were managing the game well, but ultimately you don't win, you didn't manage it well enough.
Next question to Mark Spector. Mark, go ahead as soon as your microphone's active.
So, Dave, I'm going to say most of those goals aren't the kind of goals we blame goaltenders for either. Deflections and kicks in and things like that. So how do you get your team, impress upon your team that they got to get better and they got to stop these goals from going in, but you're telling us that there's not a whole lot of improvement you can make. How do you walk that line between telling guys it wasn't all their fault, but at the same time they got to get better?
No, you got to stay with getting better. There's things that we can do different on those goals, and there's things that you can do different in the game that when those situations arise, they don't hurt you as much. So sometimes stuff happens. You look at the 5-on-3 goal we gave up against. First of all, it's a poor call. But that being said, you got to kill it off. We do a pretty good job of killing it off, and it's a puck that bounces around and hits Tave in the shin pad and finds its way in. You can draw up all the defensive schemes you want. That stuff like that happens, not much you can do. But there's other things in the game that to make sure that those things don't affect the outcome, you can do better. And we took some penalties last night that there were some that I didn't think were very good calls, but there were some that they're just poor plays on our part. There's some situations where I think we didn't play as well as we could have in certain situations in the game where whether it be defending or trying to create more, where there's areas where we can be better. So you try to essentially go after those areas. The mistakes that were made on the goals, those are easy to talk about and correct, but it's the other parts of the game where you can be better, you can do things that give you a better chance to win longer term, where those maybe bad breaks or a mistake here or there doesn't affect the outcome.
Next question to Adam Cook. Adam, go ahead as soon as your microphone's active.
Dave, obviously your team is facing an elimination for the first time, and I guess you want a sense of urgency. How do you balance, the sense of urgency with being, maybe overly desperate or perhaps, panic setting in a certain situation late in the game or something like that?
Well, it's a good test for our group. You know, your back's against the wall. You got to go out and play well. We need everybody in our lineup to play well, right from the goaltender on out. And you just got to manufacture a win. We've been very good in back-to-back games this year, so our goal is to go out, get that next game, and then we'll deal with the next one the next day. But we know we have to go out and play well as a group. That's the only way that it's. If we don't, we probably won't play again. So it's on all of us to go out and make sure we prepare right and play well.
Next question to Rob Tichkowski. Rob, as soon as your microphone is active, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Dave. I mean, for 2 to 3 games so far, you guys haven't played your best game. And now, is that reason for optimism, knowing that, you know, you still have more to give, or is it cause for concern that with everything at stake, you still haven't found that level yet?
The first game, we didn't play very well because we got down early and we chased the game. And whenever you're down like that, no team looks good. The second game, I thought we played well. Yesterday's game was kind of like a chess match where both teams are trying to find something, but I think both teams played a pretty sound 5-on-5 game. We made some mistakes that cost us, so we've got to you look to try to build momentum or build your game through as the series goes. We have to go in tomorrow and there's things we talk about, adjustments we talk about every day. We'll do that same thing today, but you got to go out and find a way to win tomorrow. That's just the way it is.
Next question to John Dietz. John, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Hey, Dave. Ole Mata was talking about how one of the keys for them is being able to get shots off from just inside the blue line, because not all the time, but enough that your defense is collapsing and creating lanes. Do you agree with that? And is it going to be a point of emphasis for tomorrow?
I don't understand what you're talking about. Say that again.
Oh, sorry. Ole Mata was talking about how the reason they're able to get shots through from the point is because enough of your guys have collapsed deep enough into the zone that they're not in the way. So that was his point. I just wanted to know if you agreed with it and if it's a point of emphasis for tomorrow.
Well, if you see the shot that he scored on, that puck was going 2 feet wide and hit the back of Rusty's leg and found a way in. So if that's what he's talking about, shooting wide and going in, but our guys we've done a good job for the most part to get in lanes, but there's times when we weren't in the lane, and on one of the goals late, Cassian wasn't in the lane and ended up getting deflected and going in. So those are things. We're not giving up a ton of chances like that, just unfortunate breaks that they found a stick and found the back of the net.
Next question to Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Daniel, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Hi, Dave. You haven't had Tyler Ennis for a long time here, and obviously, you had this pause in the middle of the season. But do you get a sense, or do you have a sense of what you'll be missing with him out of the lineup? And I know you had some thoughts after the game as to how you plan to fill a spot, but do you have any update on that in terms of who will take a spot with Draisaitl and how you backfill the lineup there?
No, we'll continue to talk about that today. But Enzo was a good player for us. He's a smart player, moves the puck, and he'll be missed out of our lineup. But what it is an opportunity for somebody else. You guys have been talking about people wanting opportunity and more minutes. Well, it's going to be more minutes for somebody, and we need them to get in there and do the job.
We'll take 3 more questions. Next question to Ched News. Ched, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Andre. It's Reed here. I didn't realize the name wasn't in. Dave, on the offensive end, I know your goals per game is pretty good, but I'm just wondering if on the attack, if you'd like to see more shots, different type of shots, anything like that, especially maybe from lines 3 and 4.
Well, if you would have, you're going off the game last night. If you would have said that after the second game, we got lots of shots. We had 60-some attempts at net. Last night, last game, both teams were a little tighter. You always want to get pucks going to the net as much as you can. I think we've passed up some opportunities to do that. So those are areas that we've talked about. The other area where when you're penalty killing as much as we have, especially in the second period, you're not getting opportunity to play the offensive side. So those are all things that we talk about in our game, and we have to find ways to get as many pucks in the net as we can. And that's the reality of trying to win the game.
Two more questions. Ryan Rashog, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Thanks, Andre. Dave, for a while earlier in the season, you had one of the hottest lines in the game with Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto and Draisaitl, and I know you got away from that just before the shutdown happened. You've also tried to be really consistent with your lines from the start of training camp right through and not make any massive changes. I just wonder how you sort of, I don't expect you to give us the answer of what you're going to do, but do you have to think about reuniting those guys in some way? And what does it change your lineup when you do that, you know, as a reason you've gotten away from it?
We talk about those things every day. So we weigh all the different options, and you're exactly right. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do because I don't know why I would do that, but there's all different options, and you're looking for flow, you're looking for rhythm in your lineup, you're looking for people that can, you think gives you the best advantage to win. So we'll continue to do that every day.
And final questions to Jason Gregor. Go ahead, Jason.
Dave, we know that you're going to bring in somebody. You had Russell and Haas play in the exhibition game. Can Gaetan Haas, could he play left wing as a right shot in your eyes, or do you see him more as a center?
He's played center most of the time, but we've got some discussions underway about who we're going to bring in there. We'll decide that later today.
Thank you very much, Coach, and thanks to members of the media. We'll be back shortly with Alex Jason and Oscar Klefbom. Thank you.